Jimin and Jungkook's secret holiday Bittersweet surprise at first. The holiday looks like a sweet escape from the world spotlight. Jimin and Jungkook, two BTS members who have been known to have a strong bond, decided to take a short break from the hustle and bustle and stress that constantly overshadows them. No official announcement, no promotion agenda, just a short vacation that they planned secretly, without a manager, no cameras, no demands to smile in public. A time to be an ordinary human being, not a global idol. However, reality says otherwise. Sources close to HYB's environment revealed that Jimin and Jungkook flew to a European city, most likely in the southern region of France or Italy, on a private jet. They avoided major airports and opted for more discreet routes to avoid the attention of the media and fans. Their desire is simple: to enjoy the view of the sea, to breathe the coastal air, and walk around like two old friends reminiscing about a time before things got complicated. But the world does not easily forget the two faces that once dominated the world stage. Some fans from Asia and Europe recognized them while enjoying dinner at a seaside restaurant. One of the blurry photos began circulating on fan community forums, and within hours, their location was tracked. It didn't take long before a group of people gathered near the villa where they were staying. An initially calm holiday turned into a small mess. Local security had to intervene, and HYB staff who were not initially involved were forced to be sent to manage the situation. Another source revealed that Jimin was seen in tears when they were forced to cancel a visit to a local art gallery that he had been looking forward to for months. Jungkook, who is known for his protective nature towards Jimin, reportedly got emotional when a photographer broke through the villa fence just to capture exclusive pictures. But it's not just the paparazzi who are the source of bitterness on their vacation. As it turns out, in the silence of the night as a storm begins to fall outside their villa, an emotional conversation ensues between the two. Some Korean media speculated that the conversation was related to the pressure they felt due to the uncertainty of BTS' future. Jimin, who is known as a person who harbors feelings, is said to have said, "I'm afraid, if we come back later, everything has gone too far." Jungkook, as leaked from the confessions of someone close to their team, was silent for a long time before answering softly, "If the world changes, the important thing is that we do not change. We remain one." The words became a new source of speculation, spreading widely among fans who read the emotional tone between the lines that had never been officially confirmed. For ARMY, it was not just a promise, but a prayer that the bond between Jimin and Jungkook and the rest of BTS would remain intact no matter how hard the world tried to separate them. They finally decided to speed up the vacation and return to Korea ahead of schedule. The airport where they returned was also the scene of another speculation when Jimin was seen wearing a dark hoodie and mask, his face downcast, as if trying to hide an invisible wound. Jungkook walked a little behind him, his facial expression hard but full of burden. A few days later, Jimin uploaded a photo of the twilight sky on his personal account with a short caption, "The noise is sometimes deafening." The ARMY responded with an overwhelming wave of support. Fans send messages of love, poems, even redraw sketches of their holiday atmosphere in warm colors that imply comfort. Although the holiday was bittersweet, fans wanted to turn the memories into something sweet, at least in their hearts. Jungkook himself has not yet made an official statement, but in a radio interview recorded before the holiday, he once said, "The best place is not where, but with whom. And sometimes that's enough to survive." Those words now sound much more meaningful, although the holiday ended sooner and left many feelings that did not have time to calm down. One thing became clear: the relationship between Jimin and Jungkook is more than just coworkers. They are each other's best friend, protector, and perhaps the only solace in a world that never makes room for weakness. Jimin and Jungkook may have just wanted to be alone, but they came back with a story that touches, ignites, and strengthens the invisible bond between them and the millions of hearts that are always waiting with love. Their return to Korea after a bittersweet secret vacation is not the end of an emotional story, but rather the beginning of a new wave of sympathy, love, and introspection from the ARMY around the world. What was originally a moment to heal personal inner wounds instead turned into an event that opened the eyes of many, that even though they are big stars, Jimin and Jungkook are still human. They also have limits, have expectations, and are sometimes hurt by the expectations of a world that never stops demanding. Arriving in Korea, news of the change in behavior of the two became a conversation. Some of the staff involved in the process of picking them up from the airport mentioned that Jimin became quieter than usual. He is more often alone in his room, even when the training schedule is back on track. Jungkook, who is usually a cheerful figure in the studio, arrived early this time but rarely spoke. He seemed to be carrying an unfinished load, and his eyes were blank when no camera was pointing at him. HYB herself did not issue an official statement about the holiday, but many speculated that the agency was preparing a special space so that Jimin and Jungkook could get emotional support without having to be exposed to the media. Not a few senior staff also participated in rearranging the schedule to give them more time to rest without pressure. But there is one thing that attracts the attention of many fans. A few days after their return, one of the famous fan sites uploaded a short video. Jimin stood on the balcony of HYB's studio, staring at the evening sky, holding a small book. There are no words, only visuals that speak. But what makes this video viral are the moments where Jungkook gets into the frame, stands next to Jimin, then without saying anything, hugs him slowly from behind. The cameras only captured their silhouettes in silence, but the impact was enormous for the army. The fans saw the moment not only as a form of support between the members, but as a symbol of how friendship can be the only refuge in the midst of storms that keep coming one after another. INA Weverse broadcast a few days later. Jimin had time to answer questions from fans who asked how he had been feeling lately. With a soft voice and a slight smile on his lips, he said, "Sometimes I feel too small in this big world. But when I look beside me and know he's there, I feel like I can stand up again." The announcement was immediately greeted with a standing ovation from millions of fans. They knew who Jimin was talking about, a figure who is always by his side, both in silence and in the light. Jungkook, the magne, who is in many ways stronger than anyone knows, is also softer than the world can imagine. Many music industry observers have begun to highlight how important emotional stability is to big artists like BTS. In a long article published by a well-known Korean magazine, it was mentioned that the bittersweet holiday phenomenon, this is a reflection of fatigue that cannot always be dealt with money or popularity. Even stars of Jimin and Jungkook's level need space to feel failed, disappointed, and embraced unconditionally. Meanwhile, the ARMY community began a campaign to spread the positive spirit by creating a project-themed Silent Comfort, a global movement in which fans send letters and artwork that are not only full of love, but also do not demand answers or back interactions from their idols. The goal is simple, for them to know that they are loved, even when not reciprocating or appearing perfect. Towards the following month, Jimin and Jungkook again appeared in public in a limited event in South Korea. Although they did not talk much, the camera could not deny that between the two there was a new kind of power. They seemed more mature, more cautious, yet also closer than ever. In the midst of all the turmoil and stress, they kept each other company, and maybe that's the essence of all this, that even in the most bitter and hidden moments, as the world tries to test how strong the foundations of togetherness are, there is one thing that can never be torn down: a love that grows in silence, and a friendship that needs no public recognition to stay alive. The story of Jimin and Jungkook's secret vacation may have come to an end, but his emotional imprint will continue to live on in the hearts of fans. For in the silence and the storm, the two names Jimin and Jungkook always knew where to turn each other.